a really star-studded cast of folks that are going to be speaking about today's announcement. We first have Florida's Lieutenant Governor, our Green Beret, Jay Collins, is here with us. We've got Florida Department of Highway Safety Motor Vehicle Executive Director Dave Kerner with us. Florida Department, the Colonel, leader of the Florida Highway Patrol, Gary Howes. Larry Keefe, our immigration czar. We also have Keith Pearson, who was a former sheriff in Southeast Florida and is now Department of Homeland Security senior counselor on state and local law enforcement. And I want to thank everybody for being here. We're excited to be back in Bay County. We now have people are starting to look forward to the football season. We're going to have a pretty big game in Tallahassee in about a week and a half. Not necessarily the program you want to see come into town if you are a Florida State fan, but Alabama is going to be coming to town, and I'm sure we have some Florida State fans in the crowd, right? Yeah. Do we have any Alabama fans in the crowd? No. Okay. Good. I guess you got to go a little bit further west before you start getting those there. It's interesting in the state you have. So like Miami fans are basically Miami. Like there's not really, like you go there, that's it. Kind of Tampa Bay, Orlando, that's definitely UF, no question. Jacksonville's a little mixed. Then once you get over in this part, really, really strong FSU. So this will be important. My kids are really excited about it, and I know a lot of people will enjoy doing that. So a lot of Floridians hopefully will be able to enjoy that. I want to make a quick comment on. We got news last night that we had a judge try to upset the apple cart with respect to our deportation and detainee processing center down in South Florida at Alligator Alcatraz. I just wanted to say this was not something that was unexpected. This is a judge that was not going to give us a fair shake. This was preordained. Very much an activist judge that is trying to do policy from the bench. This is not going to deter us. We're going to continue working on the deported. You have people that are in this country that have already been ordered to be removed by the current system, and yet the previous administration didn't want to do anything about it. We're now in this position where we're leading the state efforts to help the Trump administration actually enforce the law and actually remove these illegal aliens from not just Florida but from our country. And that's something that we didn't have for 4 years, and now that's something that we're absolutely on board with making sure happens going forward. And so we're not going to be deterred. We're totally in the right on this. But I would also note, because of the success of Alligator Alcatraz, there's demand for more. So I did announce that we are going to be opening another facility right outside of Jacksonville in Baker County, and we've called that the Deportation Depot. And so that is something that will be able to hold another 2,000. There's an airport close by, and so you have the processing and then the removal, and you can get that working very, very quickly. There is no truth to the rumor that the Northeast Florida Deportation Depot is going to be used to detain unruly Georgia fans during the Florida-Georgia. That's not true. Don't let anyone tell you that. I hear that percolating. That is not true. It is for illegal aliens, and that's what we're going to do. So we're committed to the mission. We're not going to be deterred. We see this happening all over the country. We knew the minute this judge got the case, we knew exactly what she was going to do. This is not anything that was unexpected, but we'll make sure to get the job done in the end. Now, we are here, and I'd also point out, and maybe the Lieutenant Governor will say a little bit more about it, we had this illegal, some guy comes from India illegally. He ends up in California, of course, and gets a commercial driver's license. Now, first of all, he wasn't eligible for a commercial driver's license. Second of all, he doesn't speak or understand English. How are you going to operate some big rig when you don't understand the road signs? And so this guy got a commercial driver's license in Washington State and in California. Well, he's driving stuff in Florida and ends up trying to do a U-turn in the middle of the highway where they have the gaps for the highway patrol, official use only. And, of course, you can't just do that on a dime. and there's a car coming, and the car runs into the big rig, and 3 people are killed because this guy doesn't video you saw, and it's just like this guy had it didn't even faze him that this had happened. First of all, if I got into a wreck, and didn't hit anybody, that would be something that I'd be concerned about. Like, okay, did I try to do a U-turn or whatever? And then if there's any type of collision, aren't most people's first reaction to just be like, oh man, I hope everyone's all right, and to try? This guy didn't care. And so we worked with the federal government. They were able to get him. The U.S. Marshals were able to, once that evidence came in, were able to detain him. We sent the lieutenant governor out to personally extradite him back to Florida yesterday. And so he is in Florida, and he is facing justice in Florida for those 3 deaths. But that's not enough. Yes, we'll hold him accountable, and he's going to potentially spend decades in prison, but why would a company, and this is a California company, why would they put someone behind the wheel of one of those things when this guy can't even communicate and doesn't understand English? And so the Trump administration, I think commendably, has already revoked the company's license to operate, and I think that's absolutely appropriate. We're going to be looking at what our remedies are, or maybe from the victims' families' remedies against a company that didn't seem to care about public safety. But then you also have the issue of California. We've talked about these, we've seen this on display. Certainly since I've been governor, you see what has happened to Chicago. It's collapsed. What's happened to some of these places in California? You got homeless everywhere. You got obviously high taxes. You got people leaving. New York City, as bad as that got under de Blasio, I'd say, buckle your seatbelt if this new guy gets in. It's going to be a total disaster, and it's a predictable outcome of leftist policies being put in place. And we contrast that. We criticize it. We say, hey, people are leaving your state and everything. But it's not just kind of a philosophical debate. Yeah, Florida, people want to come here. We have low tax. We're doing all this stuff, low crime. The reality is those sanctuary policies of California are spilling over, and they are impacting people around the country. And this is a great example of that happening. So ultimately, we can do all the right things in Florida, and we'll continue to do it. But unless these sanctuary jurisdictions like California are reined in, you are going to continue to expose Americans in other states to the problems that flow from not caring about borders or not caring about the rule of law. So I just wonder, like in Congress, we've got a Republican Congress. All these guys that run when they ask you for their vote, I'm going to stop the board, I'm going to be tough on him. Not one runs openly on being weak on immigration, right? Because they know they would lose if they did that. And so, but yet, they haven't defunded sanctuary states like California. They haven't defunded sanctuary cities. They could overhaul this whole bureaucracy that makes it harder to remove illegal aliens from this country, and they haven't done it. So I think ultimately they're going to have to step up to the plate. What happened in Florida is the predictable consequence of these sanctuary policies. But we as Floridians, we can't reach out and change California's policies. Like, that's beyond our capacity as a state government. I have people, saying, oh, we wish California was doing, what you're doing. I was like, well, you got to elect different people. Ultimately, that's what you got to do, and they haven't been willing to do that. So I think it's going to continue. But there is ways to hold these rogue states accountable. And Congress has the power of the purse. Congress has the ability to regulate appropriately, and certainly can help streamline the immigration operations that are being undertaken both in Florida and with the Trump administration. So I thank Lieutenant Governor Collins for going out there, bringing him back. I know there's going to be really swift justice that's going to be administered, but this did not need to happen. This was totally avoidable, and it is the result of bad policies. Now, which brings us here today. We have recognized this issue as being something that's very important. I've been in Northwest Florida talking about different things that we've done. During the Biden border crisis, we sent people to the southern border. We were the first state to help Texas back in 2021 by sending folks to the southern border. We're also not a sanctuary state. You know, when I became governor, they had not banned sanctuary cities in Florida. We got that done. We banned sanctuary cities. We don't allow driver's license for illegal aliens in Florida. We don't recognize out-of-state driver's license like California issued to illegal aliens. We don't allow local governments to issue ID cards to illegal aliens, and we don't even allow not NGOs to issue ID cards because they try to do this and try to get into all this. So we've been very strong on all of that stuff, as well as, you know, when I became governor, they gave in-state tuition for illegals. We got that repealed. So we've done a lot of really good stuff. But the reality is when Biden was in, it's like swimming upstream. You can make sure you have good policies, but if our highway patrol would stop somebody who's here illegally, Biden's people wouldn't do anything about it. They would just release them and let them go on their business. So there was really no interior enforcement. So when President Trump won election in November of 2024, we saw that as an opportunity to finally address this issue once and for all. And we may not get another chance to do it if we don't get the job done now. So we, at the beginning of this year, I called a special session of the Florida legislature. We needed to make sure that in the state of Florida, yeah, we're not a sanctuary state, but we want to be part of the solution. We're not just going to sit on our hands. We, because of that legislative push that I made, we are the only state in the country that requires all state and local law enforcement agencies to participate with DHS on immigration enforcement and removal operations. And that's made a huge difference. We've now set the standard. Other states are now following suit, not just on the detention and processing, like got a lot of news with Alligator Alcatraz, but so many other things that we're doing. And the Florida Highway Patrol has really been a huge part of that effort. I believe they were the first agency in the entire country to execute a 287G agreement with the Department of Homeland Security. It's a bureaucratic term that basically the federal government is blessing these state and local law enforcement officers with the ability to participate in immigration enforcement. So under Biden, if our highway patrol pulled over someone who was here illegally driving drunk, whatever they did in the criminal system here they could do, but if they wanted to transport for a deportation, they weren't allowed to do that. ICE wouldn't recognize it. Well, now, with these agreements, they can do that. They can be part of the solution. So we're really glad that we were able to do that, and so we've really led the way on all of that stuff. We have done a lot of different operations over these many months now, and we've had a tremendous amount of success. And we're going to continue to be somebody that can be counted on by the Trump administration to bring about positive resolution to a border issue, an immigration issue that has been constantly an issue for many, many decades. So today we are highlighting yet another major enforcement effort. This week, a first-of-its-kind immigration enforcement operation started in Florida's Panhandle, led by the Florida Highway Patrol in coordination with our federal partners, including DHS, agencies like Border Patrol, HSI, and ICE. The Panhandle Immigration Enforcement Operation is part of a comprehensive multi-agency enforcement detail targeting illegal aliens with criminal records, fugitives, and repeat immigration violators. We deployed 45 FHP troopers and 20 federal personnel across Escambia, Santa Rosa, Walton, Okaloosa, Holmes, Bay, Washington, and Jackson counties. Although the operation is still underway, nearly 200 illegal aliens have already been apprehended, with expectations that the final total will even be higher by the end of today's operations. Among those arrested, 37 illegals that had previously received final orders of removal and yet failed to appear in court. 8 illegals that had been deported and illegally re-entered the United States, one of which has been deported 4 times, just like a revolving door. these individuals will be federally charged. Troopers have encountered illegals who have fled, resisted arrest, and even physically assaulted officers, underscoring the heightened danger posed by criminal aliens. We're going to continue to face escalating attempt by criminal aliens to infiltrate our communities, posing a threat to the safety of not only our citizens, but also our many, many visitors. So this operation sends a clear and uncompromising message. We will not tolerate lawlessness in the state of Florida. We're going to continue to deploy every available resource to identify, apprehend, and remove those who seek to exploit our state and to endanger our people. While some states simply watch and wait, Florida leads. Our commitment to efficiency and accountability is why Florida continues to remain the national model. And just last week, Florida marked another milestone. In partnership with ICE and the U.S. Coast Guard, we launched the first deportation flight out of Tallahassee Airport, transporting nearly 20 illegal aliens in an operation that is going to continue each and every week. This operation reflects our expanding coordination with federal partners and reinforces our mission to secure the interior of this country and to protect our communities. Since March, FHP has vetted nearly 4,700 individuals through U.S. Department of Homeland Security databases. Of those, more than 3,600 have been arrested and processed for immigration violations, and more than 600 had prior criminal history. FHP has uncovered human smuggling operations operating deep within Florida's borders, and troopers have intercepted vehicles transporting illegal firearms, fentanyl, and even large sums of illicit cash. Recent arrests include individuals involved in drug trafficking, weapons violations, and gang-related activities. So this is real. This stuff has a major impact on the safety of our communities, and it also serves as a deterrent effect. You know, there was a story, even CNN was talking about it, months ago. There are these illegal alien theft gangs, like theft rings, and, they steal stuff in New York. And then they come down to Florida and spend the money at our attractions, and then they go back to New York and steal more. And so the reporter said, well, why don't you steal in Florida? They said, because they put you in jail in Florida when you steal. So that's a deterrent. And I think what we're doing here is a deterrent. People know, first of all, you shouldn't be coming to the United States illegally, but those that do, I think, are probably not going to want to choose the free state of Florida. So I'm proud of FHP. I want to thank both the colonel and the director and Larry Keefe for all the hard work they've done to be putting in to this. I want to thank our federal partners for really showing how it can be done when you have really strong state and federal partnership on an issue that's very much of major concern for so many Americans. I'm also want to thank the Lieutenant Governor. So some of you may not have seen, but it was last week. Yeah, it's only been a week. Last week, I appointed, he was then a senator, Jay Collins, to be our Lieutenant Governor. We had Jeanette Nunez was my ticket mate in 18 and in 22. She got the presidency at Florida International University down in Miami, which is great school. Obviously got a better pay deal than as Lieutenant Governor, and so she went to take that position. So I had the appointment to make, and Jay Collins is a unique guy because he served our country for 23 years in uniform as a Green Beret. He was involved in all kinds of special operations activity and many thorny places. He's been decorated with Bronze Star, Legion of Merit, Purple Heart because he's been wounded in action. But one of the unique things about him is he actually ended up even losing his leg. And rather than take a medical retirement, he became the first person in the history of the Green Berets to requalify as a Green Beret with a prosthetic leg. Not many people would be able to do that. And I recruited him to run for Senate years ago in a district in Tampa, which had been a Democrat district. And they had a Democrat incumbent senator. And, I knew he could do it because he's got a great story. He's been serving the country and his community in admirable ways. and he was able to win that and beat a Democrat, entrenched Democrat incumbent by double digits. And so that's really shown, because I think people saw, like, this guy's the real deal. When he wasn't doing his senator duties, he was leading charities that would respond after disasters like our hurricanes that we had here, Hurricane Ian, Hurricane Helene, probably Hurricane Michael back in the day when he was there for that. And that's being there immediately and helping people who need help, stabilize, helping the first responders with meals and other things that they need. And he even recently, when the Iran-Israel conflict broke out and the rockets are raining down, we had a lot of Floridians that were over there. We had people that were students that were studying over there. So a lot of people were really worried, and we've helped in these situations in the past. So, of course, they call us. And so I authorized rescue missions out of Israel, and we ended up getting thousands of people out of Israel. We flew many back to Florida from Cyprus. But then Senator Collins he flew to Israel himself. He's on the ground, and he's personally rescuing people in the midst of the Iranian barrage. And so that, to me, shows that you're somebody that puts service above self. That's why that I have dubbed him the Chuck Norris of Florida politics. And so you guys have a lieutenant governor you can be proud of, and he's going to come up and say a few words.
First off, thank you. It's great to be here today. And it's kind of hard to live up to that introduction. Thank you, Governor. So I'm going to summarize all that, all right? I was just in California, as the governor mentioned. So I'm going to put it in terms that they'll understand as well, because I think there's a few hurt feelings reports from what I said out there. I don't identify as a politician. I identify as a God-fearing, gun-loving, freedom-defending, bacon-eating, one-legged retired Green Beret. So that's it. That's the top line. But, thank you. We all love bacon. So what an incredible opportunity to talk about something that matters. First off, our law enforcement guys, thank you for what you do. Thank you for your hard work, your dedication to the community, how you lead, what you do. We cannot thank you enough. What you've done often in other states has been maligned and punished. We will never do that here. We are going to stand and back our Leo. We're going to be there day in, day night, and twice on Sunday. That's a promise and a guarantee. So with immigration, you look at what's happened around our country. We know that no state is not a border state, right? Everybody's open, no matter what. We have a governor in California, Gavin Newsom. Not really sure what he's doing. There's a lot of tweets, some memes, some digital photos of himself, things like that going on the internet while his border is open. People are pouring across it, fentanyl, illegal immigrants, terrorists coming across the border, putting American lives at risk. It's unacceptable. We know it's not right. In fact, it's inherently wrong. When you talk about illegal immigration, what does he want to talk about? He wants to talk about rights for illegal immigrants. He wants to take care of them. Well, we don't do that crap here in Florida, right? We don't. We stand by the American citizen. We stand by Floridians. We do what's right. We stand up for our people and their rights. That's why I am incredibly proud of what we've done here in the state of Florida to lead on illegal immigration. We passed a great bill this year. It took a little work, a little heavy lifting, but we got there. And you heard the governor talk about 287G and all that we've done, mandating that our law enforcement works with them, with the federal government. And you see the results. We have Alligator Alcatraz. You have the deportation depot standing up. But what you really see is a governor dedicated to getting it right, doing the hard wrong, being willing to stand alone no matter what other people do. Can you imagine if other states did the same thing, how much better our economy would be, how much safer our communities would be if other governors took his lead? Wouldn't that be incredible? But instead, you have people like Gavin Newsom want to play games, other states on the West Coast, maybe some on up on the East Coast. They need to stop and think about what their people want. And America's been clear. And let us just take a moment to understand this is not a Republican issue. It's not a Democratic issue. It's not an independent issue. It is an American issue. The American people have said we need the illegal immigration problem taken care of. And here in Florida, we heard what they said. Floridians, we heard what you said. We're acting, we're leading. That is the Florida way. It's what we've done, and we can never go back the other direction because this is what's right. It serves our people. Thankful to be a part of it. Grateful to serve as your Lieutenant Governor. And Governor, thank you for the opportunity. God bless everybody.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today, and I want to thank Governor DeSantis and also Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins for putting Florida first, but also putting America first. Thank you. Also, my boss, Executive Director Dave Kerner, and our state and local law enforcement partners, and also our federal law enforcement partners. Thank you. The role of trooper has never been simple and continually evolving, just as our state's evolving. It's never been more challenging than right now. Today, members of the Florida Highway Patrol are stepping up to protect Florida on all fronts. The patrol is playing a direct role in defending our communities against multifaceted threats linked to the impacts of our illegal border crossings. And those threats are many. Our troopers recognize this is not just a Florida issue. The impacts of illegal immigration threaten America, and we consider ourselves members of America's law enforcement here in Florida, just as we consider our governor America's governor. Criminals do not recognize jurisdictional boundaries, and our responses demand cooperation well beyond county lines and local jurisdictions. In recent deployments, troopers have worked side by side with our federal agents, working together as resource multipliers. This cooperation, our efforts are not photo ops. These are boots on the ground operations where commitment, intelligence, and professional cooperation protect and even save lives. I want to personally recognize the professionalism of our partners with Department of Homeland Security, ICE, ERO, our Customs and Border Protection, and our United States Marshals. They've stood with us on the front lines, and we stand with them as one of us. I'd be remiss if I didn't give you a trooper's perspective of immigration enforcement. It looks like late-night surveillance in unfamiliar terrain, stopping cars that aren't just breaking laws and endangering other motorists, but also transporting people being trafficked, smuggling illicit drugs, or occupants with criminal histories. Unlicensed drivers that selfishly choose to endanger innocent Americans instead of just obeying the law. It looks like making split-second decisions on high-risk environments, often without full information, but always with full accountability. Troopers are not just responding to new immigration enforcement assignments. They're carrying out layered responsibilities that now include supporting federal warrants, protective backup for multi-agency teams, and protecting citizens from the violence connected with transnational criminal organizations. They're also being targeted, our law enforcement is. Their personal lives and their family lives are being doxxed, exposed, and even threatened. Their work is being mischaracterized and their integrity questioned by people far removed from the realities of life, of the world we live. But here's also the reality. Your troopers, our troopers, they're not political actors. They're professionals who enforce the law in this state and the nation with clarity and purpose. There's nothing glamorous about this work. There's no shortcuts. It's long hours, difficult conditions, and constant pressures to make the right call. For us, failure is not an option. This is the character of Florida law enforcement in general, but especially your Florida Highway Patrol. It's not talk, it's just results. That's what our governor demands. So my boss demands, Director Kerner. It's about results. Florida law enforcement will not turn a blind eye to criminality, especially when it endangers the safety of law-abiding Americans. We will continue to empower and support our troopers with the resources and training they need. That includes protecting them and their families against threats and harassment. To our troopers that may be listening, there are several here today, thank you. Thank you and your loved ones for answering the call. To our federal partners, thank you also. Thank you for your trust, your courage, and your partnership. We look forward to our continued cooperation and support of public safety for everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Governor.
Governor, honored to be here with you today here in Bay County. Lieutenant Governor, congratulations. One of the coolest things about this position is that I get the honor of traveling around the state of Florida, and I get to meet troopers in every corner of this great state, every county, all 67 counties. And one of the dynamics that has happened over time is that when I meet new troopers, there's about almost 2,000 of them. It's hard to meet each and every one, but I've had a chance to meet most of them, and almost every time, and it happened yesterday several times when I was out on the operation, is they come up to me and they say, "Thank you, Director Kerner, thank you, Colonel Howes, for allowing us to be cops again, for allowing us to be able to serve and protect." And that has very little to do with my leadership. I try to pick the best commanders and command staff for the agency. But at the end of the day, it's a testament to our governor. Leadership matters. And these troopers didn't sign up for law enforcement and to be a state trooper for the pay. I promise you that. They didn't do it for the pension. They did it because they deeply care about the safety of their communities. And when they have to work under policies that restrict their ability to be effective, it breaks their heart. And so, Governor, thank you for what you have done for the Florida Highway Patrol. These troopers behind me are out there kicking butt, and they're taking names, and they're honored to do it, but it's because you allow them to do their job. And when you appointed Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins, I said, oh my gosh, it's going to get even better. And so we know you were with our troopers out there in California. We know that you're an operator. It's an amazing thing to have two leaders as our governor and lieutenant governor that are veterans of the military, that care about the welfare of the people that they're serving. And so it's an honor to be here with you today, Lieutenant Governor, as well. Just want to speak briefly about what's really going on when we're talking about illegal immigration and 287G. I want to give you a little bit more of a granular perspective. We were, of course, the first state to execute 287G agreements. Florida Highway Patrol was the first agency to sign that agreement. And the governor talked about, action, getting things done. So it's great to do all these signing and everyone's getting deputized, but what are we doing with it? And what Florida is doing is leading the nation. We're here to build a model that can be exported to other states. The truth is, with the millions and millions of illegal immigrants in this country, if we're going to have a meaningful opportunity to fix what has occurred over the last 4 years in the prior administration, it's going to take more than signing agreements. It's going to take capturing people, apprehending them, and deporting them. And the tip of that spear is the Florida Highway Patrol. But we want this model to be exportable. If it's just Florida, it's going to help Florida, but it's not going to solve the problem nationwide. So in the past, since March, we've arrested over 3,600 illegal immigrants, the Florida Highway Patrol alone. We are now entering a different chapter of interior enforcement. And we stood up, the governor announced a couple weeks ago, that we have stood up our own internal full-time immigration unit within the agency. I had a chance to testify in that case against Alligator Alcatraz, and I was trying my best, promise, Governor, trying my best to explain to the judge what is actually happening. Why are there so many apprehensions? And if you look at the footprint of Border Patrol and ICE in Florida, there's about 600 agents combined. There's 2,000 agents now just in the Florida Highway Patrol, and then you have our 67 sheriffs that are engaged. And so it's going to be a massive, massive lift. And so we've stood up our own immigration unit, and we've had the opportunity over these last 3 days to test that model. And really, we say it's 3 days, but it was really about 18 hours of operations, and we apprehended 100 and almost 90 illegal immigrants in that time period in just a couple of counties. If you were to think about putting all those people in this room just for scale, I don't know that you could fit all of those illegal immigrants into this room. As the governor stated, a lot of them had criminal histories. Many of them tried to escape. We engaged in pursuits and foot pursuits, but it's important work. And so moving forward, we don't have a fancy title or operation title, right? We had Operation Tidal Wave. We don't have those anymore because the reality, Governor, is at your direction. This is the way that it's going to be, right? So our immigration units are going to be in every county, full-time. We're going to be in every community. We're going to touch every corner of this state, and we're going to do our job, and we're going to remove illegal immigrants. And we're going to export that model. Our hope is we're going to design that model to be exported so that other states that have supportive legislators and supportive governors will take on this mission and task. And so I could not be prouder of these state troopers. What I saw out there over the last 3 days was amazing professionalism, amazing enforcement efforts. I just got a call right before we started this press conference. Our troopers are out there in Bay County right now. They called and said, we got 15 more, and that was within the span of an hour. And so this is an effort to try to recalibrate what has gone on in this country with illegal immigration and make our community safer. And just one last point, if I may. We could not have a better partnership with ICE, with Border Patrol, with the Department of Homeland Security, but also our local law enforcement leaders and officers. I know Sheriff Ford is here today. Every sheriff in this county has established what is known as a basic order and agreement. And what that allows us to do is drop off illegal aliens at our local jail, whatever county we're in. Before, we would have to drive hours and hours to a federal facility. That effort alone has allowed us to apprehend hundreds upon hundreds more illegal immigrants in just a couple of days. And so we're thankful to our sheriffs, we're thankful to our local police departments. I'm excited for what is to come, but I also want to be candid. To those of you watching, whether it's in this county or in South Florida or Tampa, the Florida Highway Patrol has a mission that the governor has tasked us with, and we will execute on it. And our communities should anticipate that we will continue to remove illegal aliens from the state of Florida. We will do it with diligence, we will do it with pride, and we will do it with professionalism, but it will be done. And Governor, I promise you that, and I thank you for your leadership, sir.
Okay. Keith?
Well, thank you so much for allowing me to be here today. Since day one in office, President Trump closed the border to the illegal aliens invading our country, finally having the most secure border in our country's history, and all we needed was a new president, President Trump. And under the leadership of Secretary Noem at the Department of Homeland Security, thousands of local and state law enforcement officers have been empowered to help deliver on the promise President Trump made to the American people through ICE's 287G program, taking the worst of the worst off our streets, protecting the American people. And what you see here today is a testament of the partnership we have with the Florida Highway Patrol and how effective state and local partners can be in combating the illegal immigration challenge America faces. The amazing men and women behind me and out there on the streets with the Florida Highway Patrol have added the 287G authority to their arsenal of tools to help keep our roads and highways safe for all Americans to travel. Thank you.
All right. Larry?
Thank you, Governor. Most of the things that needed to be said and should have been said already today. And just so you know who I am, I'm Larry Keefe. I'm the Executive Director of the State Board of Immigration Enforcement. My job is basically to facilitate all the cooperation that is necessary for state and local law enforcement, emergency management, National Guard, a host of state agencies to help and assist our federal partners. They are the primary lead in this mission. President Trump set the standard for this mission, declared a national emergency right when he was inaugurated to secure the border and to conduct the largest mass deportation effort in history. Governor DeSantis had the vision and foresight to know that that could not be done countrywide without state and locals being very heavily involved and being peer partners with the federal government. And my job is to make certain it all comes together and report to the governor and the lieutenant governor on what's happening. And right now, my assessment of everything, everybody's seen Alligator Alcatraz, we've got Deportation Depot, but it all comes down to finding, sorting, processing, detaining, and deporting in a mass scale, humanely, safely, lawfully, and bringing all of these moving parts together. But today I'm really glad I'm here in the headquarters of the Florida Highway Patrol west of Apalachicola after this week-long operation to give you my sense of what the real heart issue now is. The governor's going to find a way to sort out detention. You know, when federal judges want to shut us down or play whack-a-mole between Kevin Guthrie at Emergency Management, General Haas at National Guard, we're going to find a way to do it. We're not going to be, there's resolve and there is completely undaunted leadership. And now that we've got this lieutenant governor, it's just going to get better. And I'm as excited as you are, Director Kerner and all that. But after spending a good amount of time, and not just this week beforehand, with you all, with the line, with the people that are actually making it happen, and having a lot of real discussions in the rain, in the lightning, while you're still breathing hard after chasing somebody through a parking lot or into the woods, while you're trying to humanely, properly, and safely arrest someone, have them want to fight you, and have a family at home, and to have the risk of you hurt your back, you just broke your finger, and that's going to annoy you and annoy you and annoy you and fill your day, and you got to go home to your family. That very real discussion, and the number one thing that you all want to know, and I just admire and respect you for it, is do you all have our backs? Do you have our backs? Are you with us? Because this is a very ambiguous, it's a new area. Largely it was public safety, work on the highways, traffic-related stuff. And with the way our world is completely transformed to where we are now, with you are the vanguard at the forefront. With our sheriffs, we got Sheriff Bryan here today and Sheriff Ford, at the real cutting edge of this, and the bellwether lead laboratory state on all this stuff happening nationally, where the book is being written, where the Florida blueprint is being written for the other states to follow. It's happening right here, and at the cutting edge of it is you, I remember you from yesterday, and you having to make that decision, am I going to bring it today? Yeah, 287G and the losses in Florida, you got to bring your best efforts if you're law enforcement to this fight. But when you're sitting there and it's real and you're out on the highway alone and you're tired and you're wondering, what if I do something wrong? It's kind of gray, it's ambiguous, very Green Beret environment. And I want you to know that the people that you see here and for you at a perfect place and a perfect time with Governor DeSantis, with our Lieutenant Governor, with the leadership in Washington, with like former Florida Sheriff Keith Pearson. You've got the right people in the right place at the right time that understand the ambiguous environment, the risk, the danger, and that things are not always going to go right, but we are right there. He has your back, he has your back, and they are worthy, and the people of Florida are worthy. And we always hear America first, and by gosh, America first, but Floridians first, Floridians first. So when you go home and you're having to deal with doxing of your families, your personal information being put out there, people telling people what hotels you're staying in when you're on operations, we've got your backs. We're going to find ways to sort through that. But when you make that decision each day on whether to bring it or don't bring it, Florida is worthy of it. Your country is worthy of it. Your country cannot do it until we get things squared away in Florida. And we're just about there to really getting this where we can scale it and then take it nationally. So thank you all. It's been a great week, and I'm glad we're finishing it up in your headquarters here in Panama City. Thank you.
And we were able to, I called for a really big pay increase for Highway Patrol. We were able to get a pretty significant one, not all that we asked for, but we'll come back more next year and do it. And part of it is, you just got to do, it's kind of like keep up with the Joneses. Like, you need to keep good people, just period, and the pay needed to increase. But then also just Highway Patrol's doing a lot of yeoman's work on the immigration issue. I mean, that's just the reality. And so we wanted to show our appreciation. And so I was glad we were able to deliver a big increase. We are going to try for more next year. And then, we also, I see Griff, how's the boater freedom? Do people like it? Has it been going good?
Very well, sir.
Okay, yeah. And then the red snapper, I know we did that over Memorial Day this weekend. I'm sure people enjoyed that. And it's the largest red snapper season, Gulf red snapper season, than we've had since the state assumed management responsibility. I don't know how many years that is, but we're happy with that. So you get this massive red snapper season in the Gulf, which you should get. And in the Atlantic, they get like 1 day, 2 days. So we've asked the federal government, give us the management of that. We'll manage it better. We know what's going on, and we look forward to being able to do that. I know there'll be a lot of people on the east coast of Florida that'd be very happy if we were able to get that done, and that's something that we've been working on really since President Trump took office. We're excited with the results. Look, I see these guys, they'll go on TV, and then they'll talk about border immigration. But yet, like, the congressmen don't do anything. I mean, some of these people, these politicians, what we're talking about here is an operation that is producing tangible results, like really serious results that are going to result in more safety and security and prosperity for the folks in this community and beyond. So I'm glad that we're an administration committed to action, committed to results and getting the job done. And this is just another example of that. We're here in Panhandle. So, my kids, so I've got a third grader, a second grader, and a kindergartner. And you guys have this great donut place, Dandy Donuts. And I got that for them years ago. And they didn't really go to sleep that day because there's a lot of very good, amazing donut. I mean, like you walk up, there's like all the, it's just incredible. And so that was kind of the flip side. They liked it, the flip side. But today's Friday. It's not a school night, so I am bringing them back. This is round 2 for the DeSantis kids of Dandy Donuts. So we'll let you see. Hopefully they can get to bed at a decent hour. Okay, do we have any questions? All right. God bless everybody. Thank you.